Today, Erickson had some comments about online campaigning, influencers and the use of social media. I thought they were very, very interesting. I have to say I agreed with most of what he said. Let's have a listen.
We paid close attention to what had happened online during the referendum and did quite a bit of work following it to understand how the No Camp had organised their digital campaigning. The media landscape has changed. That's clear, and the pace of change is accelerating. There's traditional legacy media institutions, there's new and emerging forms of media, then there's individuals who are out there on different platforms as content creators. We took the view that we needed to engage with all comers.
Now, Nick, he claimed that the coalition misread the Voice result. I don't agree. I think they failed to capitalise on the result. That's a different thing. But I do think Labor played a very, very canny game. And look, it's a grown-up campaigner that goes back and wants to know where they go wrong. Too often you sort of blame somebody else, as the Liberal Party and the National Party seem to be doing right now. It's everybody else's fault. But you only ever pick yourself up and win if you learn exactly why, and be honest, why you went down the path you went down. And of course, he learned from all of those mistakes, and it's very, very clear that put them into the game this time. And the Libs, unfortunately, I don't think they were strong enough in the online space.
Yeah, I thought Paul Erickson made maybe 5 good points in his whole address, and that was one of them. You have to be everywhere. You don't turn down any opportunity to be on any platform nowadays, and here's why, Peter. I mean, 20 years ago, if I got the train into Sydney, you know, almost everybody on that train probably would have had 1 of 4 newspapers in their hand, probably 1 of 2 or 3. And so you kind of know what the agenda is. Now they're all looking at their phones. Now, what are they looking at? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, a lot of them will be reading your column tomorrow, I dare say. But what else are they watching on social media, on, you know, influencers, whatever? The only way to campaign now is to be on every platform all the time, the most you can, just be out everywhere. And I think Albanese did that very well. I don't think that we've learned that lesson yet. That's just one of the campaigning lessons we have to learn.
Now, this is a column I never miss. Phil Curry at the Australian Financial Review. He had a shrewd observation today. Have a listen.
10 or so years ago, a 34 and a bit primary vote would have been considered a failure by Labor. It's now handed you nearly 2/3 of the parliament, and preferences obviously now much more important than they once were. Can you sort of comment on that sort of new reality? And are these massive margins, like you've won this election, more volatile than perhaps they would have once been when you had a primary vote with a 4 in front of it?
And Dan, I'll make the point, Albanese's got a 93-seat majority off the back of a primary vote in this election that is lower than the election when Bill Shorten lost to Malcolm Turnbull in 2016. And I made the point all the way through the campaign in all of the published polling that preferences will be key, and the way in which they were running preference flows in some of those polls were way off the mark. The Libs appear to me, and you've just come out of a campaign as a candidate, the Libs appear to me to be flat-footed on preferences. And we also know that the left have got this whole program now, the Teals and legalised cannabis and, all of them, in harvesting preferences and funneling them back to Labor in a very disciplined way. We're like primary school kids and they're like university kids. We are so far out of the game.
Well, that's right, Peter. And I think, there's no point in securing a preference deal if the how to vote cards aren't getting to the hands of the voters. So you need to actually look at the practical, on the ground strategies to make sure that people are following the preference flows. I think there's a bigger point here as well, Peter, which is I think that the era of big box political parties is now over. Even just 10 years ago, the Liberal Party could be the broad church that John Howard so masterfully was able to achieve through his, he first initiated it with his leadership and his capacity and his wisdom. And that lasted a very long time where, the Liberal Party could comfortably hold inner city seats like Kooyong and hold outer suburban seats. That is no longer the case because our society has changed so much, even in just 10 years, where the inner cities and those who vote Teal have such a different lived experience to those in the outer suburbs. There's a massive wealth disparity. There's a very big educational difference. There's a big demographic difference. So I don't think that these two cohorts of voters can be housed within the same political party anymore. And what that means is the Liberal Party has to make a choice. Are they going to be a party of the inner cities, or are they going to be a party of the outer suburbs? Now, I accept that there are exceptions to this. Goldstein is an example that deserves to be studied and considered. But by and large, the Liberal Party will have to make that choice. And that is something that they'll have to realise over the next year or two.
Yeah, there'll be convulsions, as I say, for a long time here. Leave it there, gents. Thank you.